The storm on Virella, 9 came without warning, sheets of diamond dust rain slashing the barren valley, winds howling like broken engines. Elias barely made it back to camp before his suit alarm screamed red. The air outside was freezing plasma, too cold even for reinforced gear. He collapsed inside his tent, heart hammering, breath misting in the dim glow of the heater. He was alive, barely. But one glance outside reminded him someone else wasn't. The alien girl. She'd been following him since dawn, curious but cautious. He'd first seen her near the wreckage of an old probe, watching him from a ridge, slender, luminous, her eyes like shards of ocean glass. When the storm hit, she hadn't had time to find shelter. He hesitated only a moment before unsealing the tent flap. "Hey!" he shouted into the shrieking wind. "Over here!" A faint silhouette turned, then stumbled toward him. She nearly fell inside, her body trembling violently, skin glimmering with frost crystals. Elias pulled the flap shut and hit the seal, the pressure equalizing with a hiss. For a long second they just stared at each other. The soaked human and the shivering alien, both breathing clouds of steam in the half-light. Her voice was soft but shaking. "You saved me. Couldn't just let you freeze out there," Elias said, his own teeth chattering. "You okay?" She nodded weakly, though her lips were turning pale violet. "Our kind doesn't handle cold well. The light inside me dims when it's too cold." He frowned. "Light inside you?" She lifted a trembling hand. Through the translucent skin of her wrist, a faint blue glow pulsed like a heartbeat. "It's our energy. If it goes out, so do we." Elias swallowed hard. The heater wasn't enough for 2. He had 1 sleeping bag rated for sub-zero nights, and it was barely big enough for him alone. He unzipped it halfway, heart pounding with an idea that made him blush even before he spoke. "Look," he said, rubbing his neck awkwardly. "If you stay out there, you'll die. The only warm spot left is in here. You can share it, if you want." Her eyes widened, glowing softly in the dim light. "Share. Yeah, body heat." He forced a nervous smile. Purely survival stuff. For a moment she just looked at him, as if measuring his words against something invisible. Then, slowly, she nodded. "I trust you, human." The words hit him harder than the wind outside. She slipped closer, cautious, like someone stepping into sacred ground. Her clothes were thin, woven from a kind of shimmering fiber that clung to her shape and refracted light. When she lay down beside him, the faint glow from her skin filled the small tent with a soft ocean hue. Elias zipped the sleeping bag halfway shut, trying not to notice how her warmth, or rather her light, spread against his arm. "Better?" he asked, voice unsteady. "Yes," she whispered. "Much." The silence that followed was strange but comforting. The storm roared outside, yet inside there was only the sound of shared breathing and the faint hum of her inner energy syncing with his heartbeat. After a minute, she spoke again. "You are different from the others." "Others?" he asked. "The ones who came before you. They hunted. They took. You give warmth instead." He looked at her in surprise. "You've seen humans before?" She nodded slowly. "Many cycles ago. But you speak like the stars haven't hardened you yet." Elias chuckled softly. "Maybe I'm just bad at pretending to be tough." Her lips curved in a small, uncertain smile. "I think that's what I like." He blinked. "What you like?" The words hung in the air between them, glowing almost as brightly as her eyes. Time blurred after that. The storm outside became distant, muffled by the soft rhythm of their voices. She told him her name, Sarah. She was a wanderer, one of the Lira people who lived deep in the crystal forests of the north. Her kind could sense the energy currents of living things, the songs beneath the skin, she called them. You hum differently, she murmured. Your light doesn't come from within like ours, but it burns in your chest all the same. He smiled faintly. That's the heart. Humans use it for all kinds of trouble. She tilted her head. Trouble? Yeah. Feelings. Worry. Hope. The usual mess. Sarah laughed, a sound like chimes in water. Maybe that's why you survive where others don't. Elias found himself staring. The glow from her markings traced elegant lines down her neck, across her shoulders. When she breathed, they brightened faintly, as though reacting to his gaze. He looked away quickly, embarrassed. Sorry, I didn't mean to stare. It's all right, she said gently. You're curious. So am I. She reached out, brushing a glimmering fingertip against his wrist. The touch was feather-light, but he felt warmth ripple up his arm. You run so warm, she said softly. It's soothing. He swallowed. You're, pretty bright yourself. Sarah smiled again, clearly sensing the double meaning. Then maybe we balance each other. Hours passed. The storm waned, but neither of them moved. The air inside the sleeping bag was warmer now. Charge required electricity. Elias found himself telling her about Earth. The green forests, the crowded cities, the taste of coffee on a cold morning. Sarah listened as if every word was a consolation being drawn in the dark. When he finally stopped, she whispered, Your world sounds like a dream I once had. He turned his head slightly. A dream? Yes, in my dream. The sky burned gold instead of blue, and there were people who built their hearts into machines and still remember how to care. That's a good description of us, actually. She smiled faintly. Then maybe I saw you before you came. Something in her tone, half playful, half sincere, made him laugh quietly. I think I'd remember that. Her gaze softened. Not all memories begin in the same time. He didn't know how to answer that. He just looked at her, the alien girl glowing faintly in his arms, her breath warm against his chest. And for the first time since his ship crashed, he didn't feel like a stranger among the stars. When dawn came, the storm had passed. Pale light filtered through the frost-covered tent, catching on Sarah's silver hair. She shifted slightly, blinking awake. You stayed awake all night, she murmured. Didn't want you to get cold. You could have slept. He smiled tiredly. Didn't want Mr. Company either. She studied him for a long moment, then said softly, Among my people, when someone shares warmth during the night storm, it means more than kindness. Oh, he asked cautiously. It means their light has touched yours. He felt his pulse quicken. Is that bad? She shook her head, her smile small and secret. No, human. It means our energies are bound for a time. You'll feel me when I'm near, and I'll feel you. That sounds, he searched for the word, intimate. It is, she said simply. Elias laughed quietly, rubbing the back of his neck. Guess I should have read the fine print before offering the sleeping bag. Sarah tilted her head. Would you take it back if you could? He met her gaze, the answer already clear in his chest. No, not for all the stars out there. Her glow brightened just a little, almost like a blush. Then perhaps the stars planned this after all. Later, when they stepped outside, the world looked reborn. The storm had carved the sand into mirrors that caught the twin suns, scattering light across the horizon. Sarah turned to him, wind playing with her hair. You'll leave soon, won't you? Humans always do. Elias looked out at the endless landscape, then back at her. Maybe, but not today. She smiled, and the air around them shimmered faintly. Then today you belong here. He took her hand, her light spilling gently through his fingers. Guess I do. They stood there together in the alien dawn. Two lives from different worlds, wrapped in warmth borrowed from a single night. And as the suns rose higher, Elias realized something unexpected. He hadn't just shared a sleeping bag. He'd shared a piece of himself. And in return, she'd given him something far rarer, a reason to stay.